Hey guys, this is Ross Turner. I'm the author of the book called The Funnel, 10 Secrets of Extraordinary Church Growth. It is an awesome book teaching churches and ministries how to use social media and digital marketing, website, branding, all of that to help reach more people. We live in a day and age where we have tools at our disposal. We have wisdom that we can use. And this book teaches you how to maximize your influence as a church and a ministry. We're going through every chapter, all 10 secrets, one by one, in depth here in this teaching series. By the way, if you don't know me, my name is Ross Turner. I am the founder of Vibrant Agency. We are a church marketing and communication staffing team where we come alongside churches and basically become a staff member on the church to be the communications director, the marketing, and all of that. And so if you'd like to have a one-on-one consultation, please click on the links below. We are in secret number 6 today, which is called Understanding Facebook. Now, everything I'm about to teach you is going to be really predicated on the previous videos. So if you haven't watched those, I really encourage you to go back and listen and watch those videos so you can learn kind of the foundations that we've built up to now. This is secret number 6, understand Facebook. Now, I'm speaking primarily to church leaders and churches trying to use the tools at their disposal to reach people in their community. We live in a day and age where people first interact with brands, companies, churches, ministries from the comfort of their home. Like we shop from the comfort of our home. We don't even go to movies as much. We rent things from home. We're in a different society than we were before, and we're going to adapt and use the tools to our benefit and learn how to strengthen our abilities. The strategy to win with Facebook is different than anywhere else. It has its unique advantages and challenges, but if done right, you can gain massive amounts of interaction and depth. As we're diving into this now, we're going to talk about the nuances of Facebook. Facebook has a very different way of, you're in a different mindset when you're on Facebook than you are with, say, Instagram or TikTok. Instagram and TikTok are very much taking the spot in our day where you could turn on something on TV to watch, or you could entertain yourself that way, scrolling and just consuming media in the same way that you would with television. Facebook is still to its core what it originated as, is a very community interactive type platform, more so than the other ones. So understanding that helps you to decide how to use it to your advantage. One thing is that's practical. Facebook posts can include outbound links. Instagram, you can do that in some situations with paid ads or with stories as of the making of this video, but outbound links are not allowed and functional in the comments or in the caption of Instagram. On Facebook, people are much more willing to follow outbound links when they're on Facebook than any other social media platform. On Instagram and TikTok, for example, they prefer to stay on the app. So if I'm being asked to run a marketing campaign for selling some new shoes on Instagram and TikTok, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to make the entire sales pitch be on the Instagram app. They see the ad, they swipe over, they read about it, they click on the profile. I've sold them as much as I can on the app itself, and knowing that it's a big ask to get them to leave Instagram or TikTok to go to my website and take whatever action I want them to take. On Facebook, you see a major increase in the amount of people who will click on the link and go to a new website. Why is that? I don't know. We've just been doing that, since we began on Facebook. And so if I try to get people to outbound link, I might save some of the selling process and the storytelling for my landing page or wherever I'm trying to direct them on Facebook. It's just something to keep in mind. Many churches, this is something that you should pay attention to. Most churches, I'll say, that I get to look at their stats and their analytics and be a part of the team, they have more Facebook followers and engagement than on any other platform. So in your personal life, you may find yourself on Instagram or TikTok more often than you are on Facebook. You may think that the game is all on Instagram and TikTok. In reality, almost every church that I interact with, they have more Facebook comments, engagement, reach, and followers on Facebook than they do the other platforms. So we cannot just disregard and view Facebook as antiquated. It is very much still a part of our society, and a massive number of your audience members are there. Now, who is it? If your church is like most, you will notice that the majority of the interaction you get on Facebook is from 45 to 50-year-old females. This is pretty common across the hundreds of churches that we have evaluated. Taking that statistic into consideration, when you are on Facebook, consider that you might get more traction if you focus your content on family happenings and posts that ask for interaction and comments. These kinds of posts perform very well with this demographic. Know who you are speaking to, and you will deepen your engagement. So Facebook, you can go into your Meta and you can look at some analytics of your audience. I always recommend the tool that I use for all of the churches that we work with called Metricool, which just gives me a breakdown, like how many followers do I have on Instagram versus Facebook versus TikTok? Who is my audience? What's their gender? What's their age range? And what's their location? And it'll show me that information. And it's very interesting. It's always from, that 45 to 50-year-old females is usually the winner as far as who's the highest volume of followers that we have on Facebook. And they comment the most, they engage with the most, and it's pretty consistent across the platform. So if we know that, you may want to post some things on Facebook that, aren't necessarily Instagram content that's meant to live on the grid forever. Maybe you're posting, different Mother's Day things on Facebook than you are in other places. Maybe you are posting community happenings that speaks to that demographic. Maybe you're posting graphics that have font choices and styles that appeal to that demographic. Maybe it's just good to know as you're making individual content for the different platforms that you're speaking to a large percentage of your audience when they're on Facebook. A lot of times in today's society, like it or not, that demographic are the decision makers sometimes on getting involved with a church or a nonprofit. And so that is your bread and butter audience. You don't want to disregard that at any time. Next part, I want to talk with you about one of the pillars of why I love Facebook, and it is the use of Facebook events. Facebook events were very, very popular even way before the book, The Funnel, came out. And still to this day, they haven't gone away. I make it a part of the SOP, the standard operating procedure, for any mid or top tier event that would be deemed relevant for it to have a Facebook event. You also can put it on the website. You can also do all the other things you do, but don't sleep on Facebook events. Why? Because Facebook events is one of the best ways that I have found to tap in to non-followers. Say what? So let's say that we have 3,000 followers of your church on Facebook. That's cool. But in your city, you probably have 300,000 people who don't follow you. That's okay. But I bet you all 3,000 of the people that are following you on Facebook have a bunch of friends that are close to them but are not followers of your church. So there's just this one person who's in the middle. You got your follower, their friends, and your church. How does your church reach their followers? One of the best ways is through Facebook events. If one of my friends clicks that they are going to an event, and this event is one that I know nothing about, I haven't clicked like, I don't follow that company, whatever, I just see that my friend Ryan is going to this golfing event in a town near me. Sometimes, frequently, Facebook will show me that as a part of my feed, that Ryan is going to an event near me, and I could see that event title. I can click over and I can learn more. I would have never known about that event should my friend Ryan had not clicked that he was going. And now all of a sudden that event has reached me, a non-follower of that company, but now all of a sudden I'm learning about that event. Same thing can happen for your church. Let's say somebody's on Facebook that doesn't go to your church, doesn't know anything about your church, but they see that their friend Susan is going to Mother's Day brunch at your church, or, whatever the event is, new parenting seminar, okay? They didn't know anything about your church really, or that event, but they see that as a notification. They can click over, they can read about that Facebook event, and they can click interested, they can click going, they can read the comments there about the event. They can see things that they would have never seen should their friend not have said that they were going. So you're tapping now into social reach that you didn't have access to before. It's huge. Being able to organically reach people like that is the reason primarily that I use Facebook events. Listen to this story, okay? We once worked with a church here at Vibrant Agency that wanted to promote their upcoming VBS. And one of the main ways that we promoted it was through a really well done Facebook event. Facebook ads allow you to directly advertise a Facebook event, so we went all in. After a bit of advertising on the Facebook event itself, we got a good number of families that clicked that they were going to the VBS. However, we knew that we couldn't actually stop there because many people who respond to a Facebook event will end up forgetting about it or not actually following through and showing up. We didn't want that. So we started posting fun promo videos and unique content every day on the Facebook event page itself, not just as posts, but on content for the Facebook event. We wanted people to stay engaged and excited about VBS. We even did a trivia giveaway that only posted in the Facebook event page. We wanted people to stay engaged and excited about VBS. We ended up seeing a huge spike in attendees once we stopped assuming that everybody who clicked that they were going, that they were actually going to come. We still had to reel them in. We decided that someone who clicked that they were going to the Facebook event simply kind of meant that they were softly interested, but not necessarily committed. So we kept engaging with them in that Facebook event all the way up until the day before VBS started. And I'm telling you, it worked. That year was the highest attended VBS that church has ever had. And we attributed its success to going deep with Facebook events. And one of the best parts, the church spent less advertising dollars than they had in previous years. If we had not gone all in with a Facebook event strategy, we would have spent more money and still not have achieved as much results. So the power in Facebook events is very, very real. I would encourage you to make events for maybe top and mid-tier happenings at your church. You don't have to do it for the small things, but we're talking about, Easter, Mother's Day, Christmas Eve, VBS, Harvest Festival, big, maybe even kickoffs for big important sermon series. You'll have to be the determiner on your church specifically, but anything that's kind of on that level that really needs that social reach, I would encourage you, don't sleep on Facebook events. All right, let's move on. The next thing that we're going to talk about is Facebook groups. See, these are things that are unique to Facebook. They don't exist really on Instagram, other places. It's just such a more of an online community when the other places are media entertainment sources. So Facebook groups is something that I have been using heavily for years. Facebook groups is a highly effective way of gathering together for online community specific groups of people. And Facebook groups is extremely successful. Let me tell you this. First off, let me read this from the book. How can we use Facebook groups to help our church impact more people on social media? First, understand the groups. There's two types: private groups and public groups. Well, which one should we use? I think you should consider both for a different purpose. Let me talk through that. Internal private groups help encourage online connections. So we have online reach. We're just trying to build our brand alive. But now when you've got a group of people, you don't want them to only hang out together when they're in person. You want to build that ongoing connection. And Facebook groups is highly effective at that. Here's some examples. Some of the churches that we've worked with that have private, like you have to request or be invited to join, groups like Serve Team at the church, young mothers, singles, parents groups, prayer groups, all a part of the church. And you're posting and engaging with each other on those groups. People are very active daily, multiple times per day in these groups. So it's kind of a group that you request to be joined. It's like you're a part of this part of the church, sort of like a small group, except for online, and you're sharing content back and forth with each other. It's not like a public group where you're trying to like advertise something. You're just fostering online engagement. Youth groups, I would suggest having that. I would suggest having it for singles, for mothers, for parents, all a part of your church, to be able to just foster relationship, do life together. We all have busy lives, working throughout the day. This is a way for us to engage beyond just seeing each other on Sunday morning. Let's talk about public groups. Let me tell you this story. There was a church on the East Coast that we worked with at Vibrant Agency that had created a public Facebook group just for Christian college students. The college pastor posted frequent content to encourage students in their spiritual growth. He shared resources about upcoming events and even reached out to students to do guest blogs. Eventually, they ended up having thousands of students join this group. And it became bigger than just what the pastor was posting, because people started connecting with each other and posting their own helpful content within the group. Even students who would never attend that church still found a community in this Facebook group. This was an incredible way to help students who were away from their families to find new friends and hopefully get plugged in at their local church. So now you've got a situation where you're utilizing the tool that is in existence called Facebook groups to gather people that don't go to your church, have no intention of going to your church, but you're helping them see spiritual content, learn, meet people, know about upcoming happenings, be fed that you wouldn't have been able to reach without using that tool. You have that same ability. Let's say that you're the youth pastor at your local church. Why not create, let's say that your church is in Albuquerque and you want to put out, Christian young adults in Albuquerque, or, something that's more witty than that, but you're not just about your own church, it's community wide, and you're being able to speak into that and reach people that sometimes they're just not ready to come to youth group. That's an opportunity for you. Use groups, pray about it, think about it. And I would encourage you, there's been times in the past that churches have had groups that seemed affiliated with the church, but it was just done by well-intended people that were just volunteers in the church, but the church had no administrative control over those. You don't want that. That becomes something that could be a liability to you. And so what I would say is make the groups and identify them as managed by the church's page and affiliated with the church. And so ones that are not so don't have that affiliation, and so you can identify the difference between the two. It'll also just help you if somebody no longer becomes a part of the church and now you have no way of benefiting from this audience. That's maybe a super healthy thing, but you're not an admin on it, and so you want to have control of the administrators of those groups. Just a tip for you. The next thing, on Facebook, let's talk about live streaming. Everybody seems to live stream their services, which is great. But one of the things that's a variable from church to church is, where is that live stream being put out? Is it on YouTube? Is it on Facebook? Is it on just PushPay or just your website? Or there's so many variables as far as what you can choose. Well, what I would encourage you to do is choose whatever you want, but don't not put it on Facebook. You would be surprised at how many people choose to use Facebook as their place of consuming that live stream rather than YouTube, rather than the other places. Facebook is their primary source for those. There is an element of social reach that when somebody's watching an event, they can have some of their followers be notified that they're watching that event. So you do get some of that social reach from there. So there's really no downside to going live on Facebook. So let me tell you this. I have a church that Vibrant Agency works with, a very large church in the Northeast. And not long ago, they transitioned to a new live stream provider and decided to go live, just broadcast from their website. And after they did that, they started getting a lot of comments and DMs on Facebook like, why can't I watch live anymore? We wanted to watch live. Are you not live streaming anymore? We've done posts on the Facebook letting people know that they're going to the website now. Go to the website, follow this link and watch live. And they didn't get it. People wanted to watch it on Facebook. That's where they watch it. That's where they were used to doing it. They can comment back and forth. And it became something that we lost some engagement from by trying to redirect people outbound instead of letting it be right there on Facebook. Facebook live stream is a legitimate place for first impressions. We all, love to have beautiful buildings and greeters in front of the front door, but in reality, that's probably not your first impression. Many times, the live stream of your service is your first impression to a new guest. I would suggest spend a little bit of money and invest into some nicer cameras. I would also suggest have at least 2 camera angles. If you've got somebody running sound, have somebody doing a switcher, put some effort into your live stream. Don't just have it be up there so it's technically like a box you check that we're live streaming. You're going to do it with as excellent as you can do it. Put some effort into it. Have a close-up camera angle, a straight-up camera angle. If you can do more, that's great. Invest into some nicer cameras. Ask other churches that you think that they are doing well, what cameras that they're using. I could suggest them to you, but they're going to change year after year of what's currently the best. Another thing that I would love for you to consider is if you're going to live stream, that's going to include the music as well. Music, when it's mixed, like the sound guy is choosing how loud and the mix and the sound, they're thinking first and foremost for that live in-person experience. So very, very often when you go and listen to the live stream, you might feel like, man, this doesn't sound good. This doesn't sound good at all. It seems like when I'm there, it sounds good, but when I listen to it back, it doesn't sound good at all. And a lot of times that's because you're getting a mix that is done maybe roughly through headphones, but it's really not reflective of what the primary mix was for the house, which is going to have, the lower speakers might be louder than the upper speakers. And, you just don't get a true reflection of what's going on with worship. There are many services that you can pay for that are not that expensive, that even though they're remote, they will make a professionally done production live of your worship that's just for the online audience. So now your worship and your music sounds more polished and produced, and there's some auto-tune involved, and it just sounds like a first impression that you'd be proud of instead of one that is, a turnoff. So I would really suggest looking into those services and putting your best foot forward from a first impressions standpoint, including in the music. I want to tell you a quick story about a church that we worked with in the Atlanta area, and they had somebody who was part of their serve team, their volunteering, to engage with people online during the live stream, pray for them, welcome them, greet them. Now, sometimes your church might have a staff member that does that, but now somebody will go and greet you online and say, hey, good to see you again, Ross. Thanks for joining us. Let me know how I can pray for you. Maybe send them a DM, acting almost as the digital pastor for those people. Now you're also getting an experience where you're greeted online. You're fostering community. You can really think about live streaming and Facebook differently when you realize that these are human beings that are watching and engaging with your service. These are not numbers and stats and analytics. These are just as much legitimate people engaging with your service as the people you see sitting in those seats. This is a bigger part of your ministry than you may realize. The live stream for your Facebook Sunday morning experience is a part of the top of your funnel. When you're thinking about reaching your people and putting them through a funnel and showing them next steps, this is a part of it. You should expect that most people watching are just testing the waters. Greeting them with a friendly introduction is a great way to build relationship and to draw them in. Have a specific call to action at the end of your live stream broadcast for the viewers at home. Hey, if you are watching online and you're not a part of our church community, welcome. And we would like to pray for you. Send us a message, fill out this Connect card. If this is your first time, we'd love to learn more about you, send you something in the mail as a welcome gift. Have something that speaks only to those people that watched online, and you will help them feel like they're actually being a part of things and not just watching like a fly on the wall. The numbers don't lie. Facebook Live will usually be a bigger audience than your in-person audience. So if that's the case, shouldn't we give our best to those people as well as the people who came in person? The last thing I want to talk with you about before we wrap this up is on Facebook, how do we deal with comments and DMs? That is one of the things that gets overlooked so often. We think so much about what content we're putting out, and we forget to deal with social media like it is actually social. Let me tell you this story from the book. Recently, we at Vibrant Agency ran an ad campaign for 50 different churches around Thanksgiving. We created a post discussing how the holidays can be a hard time for some people, and that we wanted to know how we could pray for them. How, that we're doing this for a church, so how the church can pray. The call to action was to send the church a message so that they could pray for and encourage them. Our goal was to build some new relationships with the people in the community and to help everyone who was in a difficult season. I was pleasantly surprised at how many responses we were able to generate. We were seeing anywhere between 7 to 20 direct messages or DMs on Facebook and Instagram per week, and they were really sincere messages asking for prayer. What an awesome opportunity to help bring encouragement to people and build relationships, right? When our team was monitoring the results of this Facebook ad, I found out some terrible news. Churches were not responding to or even reading most of the messages. I was so disappointed. These churches were literally running an ad asking people how they could pray for them during this difficult holiday season, and then they turned around and ignored their responses. It was not cool. There were people leaving genuine comments on the posts and sending DMs asking for prayer, and they would just get no reply. Some churches had a Facebook auto response message, but this almost made it worse because it said something like the church would get back to them shortly, which was also not true. So now we have a situation where people have finally decided to take a step and comment on a post, amen, or how can I reach out, or what time is this event, or could somebody pray for me, or hey, we want to sign up for this, or they would send a message, hey, are you guys offering scholarships for EBS or something, and they would get ignored. So now they don't view the posts on Facebook as interactive and community-based. They just now view you as somebody who posts stuff, but really I can't connect with you. Can't let that happen. Facebook is social. It's a community platform. So you need to be somebody who's social on it. Here's some practical things that I do. Number one, set up a daily reminder on the days that you're working to manually remind yourself to go in and check for comments and messages and respond to them. If you just set that as your reminder, you will forget it much less often. And if you're getting back to people within 24 hours, you're usually within the safe zone of when people would expect to hear back from somebody. The other thing is, keep those notifications on. If they're bugging you too much during your off times, have people take turns. have a social media or a volunteer member and text you if something is, priority or needs attention or is, extreme. But I would encourage you to make intentionality around responding to comments and DMs. I hope this video has helped you. Facebook is a unique beast, but if you view it as a resource and not something that's antiquated, you'll realize there are more people than you ever realized that are ready to engage with you on Facebook. The next video is going to be awesome. We're going to go into your website and how we can use your website to, best communicate, best capture information, best take people on a journey as a church and a ministry. If you ever want to reach out to me personally or learn more about us, there's links in the description below. Hope this video has helped you, and I'll see you on the next one.